Last week we spoke about the gedurim of halakhos schiras וקבלנות. I'm going to recap it, go over in short, in order to go in more to practical things, which is negaya lamasa, how we deal with it according to all the klunim which we had, what we spoke. So again, we said there's three kind of things of people who work for you or work. One is called schir yoim or schir chodesh, which means he rents himself out for the whatever he wants, for a malacha. But he's not committed to that malacha. He doesn't have to finish that malacha. He's not. His payment has nothing to do with basically how much the. It has nothing to do with, if he doesn't have to finish. It comes 5 o'clock, he clocks out. That's a schir yoim. Schir yoim, I rent him out for a day, not for a pe'ula. Then we said there's such a thing as arisas. Arisas means which a person which works on a job and he gets commission from that job. And then there's a third thing which is called kablonas, which is he gets money, he gets paid, but he gets paid on the job, not on the time which he spends. It can take 5 days, it can take 5 minutes, it can take 5 hours, no different. He gets paid for the job. When it is a thing which is a schir yoim, a person which gets paid on the day, on a daily basis, then it's osir. L'chol hadayas, because schir yoim is your shliach. And although we hold that ein shlich is la'akim, but l'chimra, so the Alter Rebbe, we paskin yesh shlich is la'akim. When the goy does something, a pe'ula, he does it for you, and therefore you are making kili, making a malacha of Shabbos. That's why it's asr. Then we have the thing which is called aris, which is commission, which is the best thing of all, which he gets paid from what he sells. Every insurance policy which he sells, he gets paid a commission. That's the best thing, because that is basically working totally for himself. He wants to make money, he wants to make a commission. Once upon a time, he used to be on a field, and he used to get the pyres itself. You know, for every 100 pounds of fruits, he used to get 10 pounds. Nowadays, it's more money, commission. As much as you sell, you get commission what you bring in. What? Uber?
It's a similar thing, like it's up to you, but you get a percentage of the job.
You get a percentage of the job, yeah. And the third thing is, which is kabbalah, which this is the best. And then there's the thing which is called kablonas, schiras וקבלנות, which is basically he does a pe'ula and he gets paid for it, but he doesn't get paid for his time. So that means he doesn't work for you, he works for himself. He gives you a price, and he does it, and that's called kablonas, and that's also almost as good as arisas, and that is also in the atzudim which is mitter. When is the time when schiras kablonas is mitter? And so we said we have to have 3 conditions. One condition is basically that you don't give it to him on Shabbos itself. That means you can't tell him, come into my house and take it. You know, he takes it on Shabbos, which we're going to give you some examples. The second thing is he has to have time to do it, basically, before Shabbos too. Also, he has to be k'tzitz, has to be kotzut. That means it has to be a price on what he gets $10 for fixing a zipper. You know, whatever. It has to be a price on the job what he does, a fixed price. And then, if this has all this klolam, which is basically mitzad adin, it's okay because it's kabalonas. And the reason why kabalonas is okay is because we said he's working for himself. He doesn't work for Yisrael. He works for himself. Wants to make money. But there's another thing which is a problem. It's called maras ayin. Maras ayin we mentioned last week. There's a couple of maras ayins. Machlokes rishonim. What kind of maras ayin? And the pashtas, the maras ayin, which we speak, which we go according to Allah, according to Dari. We mentioned, remember, we mentioned the machlokes Dari by Nitam and Dari. By Nitam holds that if you go kablonas, and if there are people who are doing it it's mefirsim that some people doing it by kablonas, then even you could build a house. You could build a house in Shabbos because if there are people who do it b'kablonos, that's okay, and that's shittas rabbi tam. And shittas hari is no, has to be mefursim b'kablonos. Has to be mefursim b'kablonos. Only then it's okay, and has to be shouldn't be a problem of marasayin. What takes away the marasayin? We mentioned one thing takes away the marasayin is when it is chus l'tchim. So a yid cannot come there, so not a problem. And that's one way. The second way takes away marasayin if the goy does his work in his own house, so nobody could see it. It's b'vayze shel goy. That's also to have not marasayin. And if it's kablonas, when there is marasayin and mefirsim kablonas, that means the people, most of the people doing it b'kablonas, and there's no marasayin, holds the rehi. In such a case, it's not a problem to make a malach, even by a house, even by mechuber. So therefore, chitz l'tchim, if it's kablonas and mefirsim b'kablonas, it's not a problem that it is a person builds a house in Shabbos. Then is the shittas Ramban, which you mentioned, which the Ramban says there's a different marasayin. The marasayin is people will think that if you could do it b'kablonas, you could also do b'schiriyom, and therefore people will take b'schiriyom, and that's avad ha'oses, mamash ha'isar guma. So therefore, even it is mefursim b'kablonas, it's also a problem. We mentioned last week that according to halacha, pashas halacha, we paskin like the shittas hari, and therefore, if most of the people do it b'kablonas, and it is chutz l'tchim, it's not a problem. What? Or chutz l'tchim, yeah. That takes away. It's mefirsim b'kablonas, and yeah, there's no marasayin. What? So mefirsim b'kablonas, everybody does b'kablonas, and all the workers are kablonas, and there's no marasayin. So again, we have to, according to the ri, if it's mefirsim b'kablonas, automatisch there's no marasayin. So therefore, in such a case, it's halt ma mikra lucha, but it's never un nachimra shittas Ramban that we are afraid that people will make a to us that basically it is also if you are allowed the kabbalos is also makes a schiriyam, it doesn't mean machmer. What takes away the marasayin said, or in his house, or it's bechis l'tchim, as we mentioned before. Now there's the Alter Rebbe I mentioned. Alter Rebbe also says that basically there's another marasayin also. One marasayin is people will think that you did it on you take a kabbalos, but people will think that you told him you should work on Shabbos because he sees you working on Shabbos. It's take a kabbalah. But after pekan, people will think that you told him to work on Shabbos. So the Alter Rebbe adds on another t'nai that you have to see that this kabbalah works on Shabbos will also work on it over there Friday. So we see it's not Kavaya Malach Shabbos, because Kavaya Malach Shabbos is always Osir, and therefore falls away all the marasayin. Marasayin, it's Mefirsim Kablonas, that's number one. Number two, that he's working also before Shabbos. The other marasayin that maybe you did it in Shabbos, but he works already before Shabbos, falls away, and that's fine. The Alter Rebbe adds on, but the other chumrah, that the lachmatoid, as I mentioned, that basically, if under the kabbalan is taka kablonas, the main contractor is a kablonas, but the workers under him are schiriyam. So the Alter Rebbe says we have a problem with that. Again, as I mentioned, how the Marshag explained the Alter Rebbe, because people will think when they go to this worker and says, "How do you get paid?" and he says, "I get paid by the hour," they will think that he's working for me, for the Yid, and he's not working for the Kabbalah. That's what we spoke last week. Now, one thing, Nehemiah brought up a very nice question, and I said I'm going to look into it. He asks if it has to be chutz l'tchum, or what is if it is not chutz l'tchum, but is you could walk from here all the way till Man Kab, and so it's not chutz l'tchum, but there's no Yid living over there. That's the question. So I was looking around to see what is the conclusion, and I found in Shabbos B'Shabbata, one of the Swarmei Shabbos, he says like this. He says this by himself, but it makes a lot of sense. It says, since basically mitzad we pass like the ri. So since basically mitzad the ri, when you kept yeah, everybody works with kabbalos. So therefore, what when Ikra didn't make working, we going to want to be machmer like the Ramban, minig, but mekabel when shittas Ramban to be machmer on maras ayin that people will make a mistake and will think that if you're allowed to do kablonas, then you can also make schilium. Since that's added on Maras Ayin, so on this Maras Ayin, if people do not live there, from a Yud and not live there, although you could walk from here like you gave a marshal, New York is big, and you could walk miles and miles, but there's no Yid in that area. Since the Maras Ayin is only a chimra that we added on like the Ramban, this Maras Ayin doesn't have to be chislat chim. The regular Maras Ayin, taka, if it's not whatever, then taka, what man gedacht, has to be chislat chim, shechnuch shtais chislat chim. It says, whenever we added on lechimra, also the shittas Ramban, so therefore in such a case is not a problem and it's okay. So therefore, so let's go poshet in practical tzi'iram, what this is. So the first thing is, so therefore, if I give a thing for a goy, I give it for the cleaners. I want to give for the cleaners my bekitche, my rekel, whatever it should make a potter, he should clean it. And I'm giving it 5 minutes before the Zman, even 5 minutes before the Zman. But he takes it to his house before the Zman. Now, taking it, you have to give it for him that he has to take it out before Shabbos. If he takes it out in Shabbos, K'mivin is osir. There's always a gzaira, andere siman shechanurach, that we have a chashash, a goy comes out of your house, even food which he's allowed to eat. And if you give him a big piece that he cannot eat now on premises, and he will take it out and take it out on Shabbos, is dua isir, because we are a chashash, a gzaira, that people will say that you gave him, you should take it out for Shabbos. You told him, you should make a amir al-nachr on Shabbos. So that's for sure, the goy cannot take it out in Shabbos. But if he takes it out before Shabbos, so now he's going to take it to his store, and he's going to work in his store. So what is he? He's a schirioim? He's not a schirioim, he's a kabbalah. He gets paid $20 for a jacket. And he does it the Baisa Shel Yisrael, so therefore it's not a problem. But, only one thing, we have to remember, he cannot, what? He takes it in his store, in laundromat. Then it's not a problem. Even take 5 minutes b'Shabbos, but you cannot tell him I need it 5 minutes after Shabbos, because as we mentioned, is a isra of kavai malach Shabbos. Even a kablan, if you tell for the kablan that I want that you should do this job dafkan Shabbos, is also even if it's a kablan, and that will be even a chislet chim when nobody sees. Sof kol sof kavai malach Shabbos is a Isser b'tzadatzma. So if you tell him you should have it ready 5 minutes after the Zman, that means you tell him, I need it, you should make it in Shabbos. You got it 5 minutes before the Shkia, and he takes an hour, 2 hours to clean it, and you have to have it ready 5 minutes after the Zman. It means you tell it for him that basically, that you should do it in the Shabbos. The Shechanura steht the Tzir, or not the Tzir, even, it tells like this, even on consignment, which this is the best thing. Yeah, he works mamash for himself. But if you tell him that the only time you could sell it is only on Shabbos, it's awesome. The Shechanur steht dort that you give him an object, an item, and you tell him he should go sell it. And you tell him that he should sell it only in the market, because over there, the market, they pay more. Over here, the market usually is cheaper. But with the market, you get more money. But the market is only on Shabbos. The Shechanur is awesome. Although it's a kablan, not a naris, mamash even more. But sof kasov, I don't know for Reese's also, but I can put him Kabbalah for sure. Even as a Kabbalah, but Sof Kasov, that's Kavaya Malach Shabbos, because you told him that you should sell it only in market. And the market is only on Shabbos, as if you told him you should work on the Shabbos. So therefore, such a case that you don't have time to do it only on Shabbos, it's awesome. So, but if you give it 5 minutes for this man, and you tell him, I need it back on Monday, so then in such a case, it's not a problem, because he has time to do it Shabbos, after Shabbos, or if you give it Friday morning, and you tell it I need it right away to Shabbos, that's also good, because he has time to do the Erev Shabbos. As long as he has time to do before Shabbos, and he took it before Shabbos, and he does it in his oath, in such a case, it's not a problem. The same will be also with a car. People have a car, yeah? And they will have something which is broken. So you give the car for a mechanic, and then give him Friday in the morning, and it takes 3 hours to fix, and you have 3 hours Erev Shabbos, even though that you want it right after Shabbos, but since he does it in his house, in his car garage, and basically he also has the time to do it before Shabbos, although he tells me that basically I'm going to do it on Shabbos, I don't care. I don't care if you do Shabbos because you have time to do before Shabbos, yeah.
Does it matter if it's like uniquely Jewish thing?
Oh, I'm going to get to this now. I'm going to get to this Mamash Hazoy. So that's the klal. Because it doesn't scream out. He could say it's Bavais Yisrael, and therefore it's Bavais Hagoy, so therefore it's not a problem. Now, the what?
The mechanic pays his workers hourly.
I don't care, but they don't work for me, they work for him. And it's Bavais, it's Bavais Hagoy. Over there, not a problem. Because Bavais Yisrael is the problem. People will ask him, for whom are you working? It's a Jewish, how are you working? And now, Schiriyam, that's the Manasayim. In the Goy's house, there's no Manasayim, so I have no issue.
So now, in practical, also nowadays, like for example, a sale. If someone's going on sale only on Shabbos, you want someone to buy it for you. You say you basically can't do it because the only time you can do it is on Shabbos.
Yeah, exactly. It's only one day and only a Shabbos. You can't tell it he should buy it. Exactly.
And then also, but now have like an auction. Like you have these computers that will bid for auction for you.
Okay.
And the auction's ending on Shabbos. Like they have these like.
Yeah, but that's when there's bidding. But I can put in my bid now.
No.
They have like a bid for you.
Like
The what?
It'll up your bid.
Right, it'll up your bid, but only a certain amount. And
Who will up my bid? Automatic?
so the computer will automatically do it.
Yeah.
The computer will automatically do that. It should be up the bid.
Yeah, and right before the end of the bid.
There's a limit.
Oh, I can put inside the limit. So what does it mean? I buy something in Shabbos basically, and it finishes on Shabbos. So then that means that if you buy it on Shabbos. The tepila bitten, but if you bought it, mit darf dann sagen, dass
They
so
only
Kiyunim.
charge the card when they ship it.
Oh, das habe ich gewollt sagen. No, es kann sein, dass du wenn die Kiyunim sind.
No, eBay they charge right away.
Okay, so if
So the one now they automatically pay.
Going
So-
to the clearinghouse at night.
es ist eine Geile, aber Thomas sie gecharged. Nein, weil es ist eine Geile gab Websites. Ich heilig. Sie kann sein, if there is Kiyunim or not Kiyunim, it is an issue. Yeah, it's a problem. I know people who don't buy lottery tickets even if the goyel is on Shabbos, they're not going to buy it. You know, because, but haluchidik, that's not
It's always multi Shabbos.
what?
It's always multi.
It's always, no, it's not always Monday Shabbos. Friday night. Some Friday night. They're not going to win. Okay. So, but again, that has to be B'Bais Yisrael. What is if he does it not B'Bais Yisrael? He does it on the street. He does it on the street, in front, let's say, in front, a truck. A truck comes in, a mechanic has to fix a truck. He doesn't do B'Bais Yisrael. He does it b'Fresia. Yeah? He does b'Fresia. He does it on the street b'Fresia. So over here, is Shechanurich state that buying, that used to be that Yidden used to buy boats. Yachts. Some of the Yidden then had a lot of money. They bought yachts. So the yacht was built for a Yid. So where did they build the yacht? On outside, in the water. You know, over there they built it. So Zuk Shechanurich, state Shechanurich, as in Sekiktos Igven Nikra Shmoy, the name of the Yid was known. You know, who buys this yacht? You know, Maxwell. You know, some Yiddish Gewir. You know, Dreichmann brothers. So since Nikra Shmoy Ulaf, although it's not B'Bais Yisrael, but since it's B'Faresia, then it is a problem. So according to this, again, we are talking practically. None of us will buy a yacht near soon. And I'm just going to tell you the secret, what they say in the Olam HaYacht. They say there's 2 times in the time when you have a yacht that you are happy. The day when you bought it and the day you got rid of it. So basically, I'm not afraid one of you will buy a yacht, but let's have it practical. A person has a truck. It says Kingston kosher on it, yeah? They make deliveries for the house, you know. People buy a lot of boxes with in the new store. It'll be Kingston kosher on it. Now, Kingston kosher needs to fix his truck. And everybody knows Kingston kosher is a Yiddish truck. This is the same category as the Sfina. And this will be a problem. Because everybody, Shmoy Nikr Ulaf. And that's like, and he does it. Now, if the guy takes it in his garage, and he fixes it in the garage, it's not a problem. As long as we said before, he has time to do it before Shabbos. He has, it's B'Bais Yisrael, nobody sees it. It is kablunas. But if it says outside, and it's outside, this is befirsim. In such a case, it will be a problem. I had once a shala. My uncle has a company, Mahadran Milk in Canada, And he asked me this question. He asked me this question a little bit different. He asked me once that the guy, he didn't have his vehicle, it was broken, and he wanted to ask, the company should lend him the truck. It says in it his name of the dus. He has a problem. It's echt maar zijn. Gott je maar arbeids mamash voor zich, aber so in für maar zijn, and that's a problem. But again, if the truck will be not mechanic, you put it in his garage, he has a big garage, then it won't be a problem.
Once he takes it out, take a test drive.
The what?
He fixes it and he takes it.
Okay, ich darf nicht scheuchen sein. Oi bei etzem fixed das inwendig. Ich darf nicht scheuchen sein, what he's going to do. If that's the side that he does it, and I don't see it, but if I'm going to see it driving, darf ich schon moiche sein. That's yeah. If I sing it, schon moiche, darf ich moiche sein. But if I don't see it, then I don't have to be moiche. Then it's not my business. What is now, like he brought up, what is, if it is a item which is not, I don't know, no, King's Kosh, everybody knows, who belongs to that Yid, Mati Hershkop belongs to him. But when it comes to a talas, somebody gives a talas to a cleaners, and everybody knows that talas belongs to a Yid. A person gives his car to the mechanic, and there's a chitas on the front, on the dashboard, or there's a tzedukah pishka. So we don't know whose car it is, but we know it belongs to a Yid. Yeah? Huh?
A bumper sticker.
A Mashiach sticker. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Like candles on Shabbos.
The what? Huh?
Like candles on Shabbos.
Yeah, like candles on Shabbos. Okay, so what is the halacha? So now we have a machloikes. In such a case, we have a machloikes a poiskam if it's okay or not. That means what is the machloikes a poiskam? If the maras ayin is that basically that we know that Yid is doing the problem, doing the iser, or no, the Eitz Mazayid is doing the iser. Let me just say the poiskim, and then we get to the svura. The Mugnavrum writes, in the Alter Rebbe pastors like that even though that we don't know exactly, the Mugnavrum talks about a shirt. You have a shirt, which everybody knows this is a Jewish shirt, a white shirt, a coat which has a Rebbe's helmet on it, Everybody knows it's a Jewish. The Mugnavrum asks, it talks about a soinus, a shirt, which is a Jewish shirt. If you could give it for a koivus, for a cleaners to wash. Zug the Mugnavrum, no. You cannot give it, because of Shmoy Nikru Ulav, it has the name of a Yid. Everybody knows it's a Yid. And the Alter Rebbe passes like that, it's a problem. So therefore, a person has a car and wants to give it to a mechanic, he has to take out the chitas from the dashboard, he has just to hide it, and then tzedukah pishka, take off the Mashiach sticker, and then he could give it, this I don't know if he's going to do, but akapunam, or then don't give it for shop, and then you can give it for the mechanic. Other than that, it will be a problem, because it's shmoy, it's nikru ulav. But the Toys Shabbos, no, but again, now if it is basically in the garage, it's not a problem. But we're talking always when he fixes it outside when there's marasayin. If it is b'bayis shesrul hapsich stamish, this is the whole question. We're talking about you have a cleaners, which you could look into the front window. You see where he cleans a talas. Talas is a Yiddish. The Alter Rebbe is awesome. In such a case, it is awesome. You can't do it because it is maras ayin that you're cleaning. Yeah.
What are you giving to him Wednesday?
Oh, do have to show an extra zach if you give it Wednesday. If it's there's an extra shale. In dem moment is auch der Machloikes. Du in der Alter Rebbe gerade Yom Michael sein. Als dann hat es gegeben, go free, in dem darf ich schon. Aber we are talking about even you gave it in Mamash Erev Shabbos. And he does it on Shabbos. So the Alter Rebbe is also the Toys Shabbos dingt sich. The Toys Shabbos, the famous Shabbos, it's not he doesn't ding sich on the Alter Rebbe, he doesn't ding sich on Mugnavrum because he was before the Alter Rebbe. And Toys Shabbos writes, no. If you don't know exactly that it belongs to that Yid, then it's not a problem. It's not a problem. What is the concept of the Machloikas? What is the Yisod Machloikas? The Yisod Machloikas is of Maras Ayin. You can learn Maras Ayin two ways. You can learn Maras Ayin that V'yisi Nekim Hashem Yisrael. You should be clean. Nobody should think that you are over an Avayra. So therefore, if you have a item which I don't know who it is, although I know it's a Yiddish item, but I don't know who it is, there's no v'yis in the kib, because he doesn't have a chiv to be in the kib. Nobody knows it's his. And there's the svura of Toysei Shabbos. The Shabbos svura is, a person shouldn't do pillars that people should think that he's over on Avayra. So since nobody knows who it belongs, that if he has a Torah or he has a Rikna Torah, then in this shul there's only men deficient with such a Torah. Again, I'm touring where people will not know. Nobody will know what a Torah is. Who's talas? Zug the Toysei Shabbos, not a problem. But the Alter Rebbe's Nekide is a andere Marasayin. Marasayin nicht in the Kiyim. Marasayin is Chilul Hashem. The Eitzem Zach as Yidden geben daran, they're over of Havayra of Chilul Hashem. That's Gife is Chilul Hashem. Or as we mentioned before, the Marasayin is people will say if Kabbalonis is mitter, the Schiriyom is auch mitter. So what difference do we have whom it is? If you know who the Bailamar is. The Eitzem Zach is that Ayid gave it in, and Ayid will see Ayid probably gave it in because Memeg. So Memeg make Schiriyom auch, because this is one of the Schiriyom which we said the Marasayins. So therefore, dos is the Svus HaMachloike. So again, according to the Alter Rebbe, which we pass like that, anything which shows it belongs to a Yid, although I don't know to whom it belongs, but Zana is it to do on Shabbos. But Zana is it to do on Shabbos. Is there a is it to do on Shabbos? Because it says you have to hide. Again, that's only when there is an Inyaman which is if this car garage mechanic fixes most of his cars outside because he has a small garage and come even. He fixes some over here. It's not so common. Over here, everything is in the garage. But when you're talking a Monsi, which most of the cars are fixed in the front, so therefore you have a problem with Marasayin. Okay, so that's the thing of this case. So now I want to go on the next case in the same category and go to our next shaila, which was a very actual shaila, which Zisha asked me Yontov about the private garbage collectors. Now, let's make it clear. In New York City, when they take garbage, even taking the Shabbos, it's not my issue. Although I pay the taxes for them, but basically they all work for the Goyim. They work for the city. They don't work for me. They can do on Shabbos. It's not my business at all. And as the V'yan Yosef writes in his tshuva, somebody asked him about what's the heter that they pick up the garbage, my garbage, he picks up on Shabbos. He says, that basically we should have an issue because it's not my business. It's the town's. It's not my. I don't care. It's not mine. And the same will go also on our garbage in Kingston, private, personal houses, which even though you pay $2.50 per bag, it doesn't make it a schiriyom. It's still a kablonas. It is a kablonas. And every bag you're going to take, you get $2.50. So that's still a kablonas. And therefore, in such a case, it's much easier. It's much easier. But we have to the shala is the private collectors. No. The what? Aber auf dem suche ich der Mefirsen Bakabalonas. It's such a case. In Mamaila, in such a case, habe ich es nochmal, der Mungavrum hat ein Issue mit dem. So
you almost guarantee that the actual collector is Schiriyah.
Yeah.
The what?
The actual schlepper.
Okay. Ich will I'm in it. We're going to get to this Nikita. Let's we get to this. So whenever it's a Kabbalonas, what's the Malacha? Hoitzua, Meshisa Yuchel Shisarabim. It's coming with a garbage truck, driving a garbage truck.
Driving down the block, hitting every.
Nein, das ist auch der Heilig. Dit haben wir noch verdient. Driving a truck is auch. Man bald sehen, like plowing snow. Yeah, he comes with a truck. That's also an issue. Yeah. Macht man noch verdient. Yeah. Taking a shisram, tilted all the times with shisram. All these things he does for you.
But there's more Goyim on the block than you do.
So what?
Even if
So, what's the difference of more goyim? Aber did for dir amalucha. He comes to you. What? Cher, he's not beside her, but driving a truck is not kind of driving a truck, bringing the truck.
He could do without a truck.
Oh, no. He does. He needs. He cannot take the garbage. I'm sorry. No, this heißt can do it. But when it comes to when it comes to snow, we're gonna see soon. This part is easier because you don't have to take it away. You could just take a shovel and just move it away. But when it comes to garbage, it's not such a thing. He's making a malach.
How about the city garbage?
No.
The city garbage, they're collecting the block for 3 yidin and 20 goyim.
Okay.
So the fact they're putting it in the truck, there's an error, there's not a problem.
Good.
When they're driving away...
No, driving to you. Making a malacha for you, driving to you, picking up the garbage and going to water. When it has to mitrov, when he cooks up water, so we want to know for whom it is. So we say riba goyim, it's okay. But nicht when macht am for each and every one individual, it's macht am for everybody. Not a problem. So the Mungavrum has an issue with it. The Mungavrum mischt sich starker in the Nikida. And the Mungavrum says, like this. Oh, so again, the city is problem. The problem is when it goes private. So then, private is schon more, als sagt, amaluch mamash hadir. Meint sie sagen mamash, sie mehr beäufen fin, what? Ich weiß nicht, was ist Schirium, aber es ist kein Schirium, weiß ich, was es ist, weil hat, muss sagen, man kann trinken, you can tell us better. Yeah, we can't say on the month. A month, he has to come twice a week. How does it work? It's like a month. What?
Contract.
It's a contract. So, it's noch als kablunas. It's noch als, in a way, it's noch als kablunas. Aber the problem is gewesen, the ikke problem is halb sich is the kavai malachtere Shabbos. Dort halb sich the problem. Kavai malachtere Shabbos do halb sich mehr problem because you tell him that he has to come, and pick up the garbage. Let's say Shabbos is the Shkai, they don't work on Shabbos. But the problem halb sich is gescheit in Yontov. Yontov is the pshat, he has to come every Monday. Yeah. So Bamaila, das heißt kili kvai malachtere Shabbos in Azam beginnen. As me picked up, it's a problem. So the Mungavrum redt noch mehr, weil dort irgendwie mamash schirium. The Mungavrum schali gewesen, es mamash schirium. It's mamash schirium mit the pshat that it used to be the kehillah used to pay. Everybody used to pay for the kehillah, whatever, a part of the mass for the kehillah, part of being a member, and the kehillah used to have goyim. They used to come, they used to pick it up, and dort hat sich the Mungavrum mitschet sich sehr stark. What is the heter of Tekena? You could do it. And there is a few answers to this question, which on every answer there's a machloikis, which other poskim do not agree. And so therefore the lamais lalucha, which I said basically for Zisha, if you could tell for the goy, because it came Yontav was the middle of the week, if you could tell the goy that you should not come on Shabbos, you should not come on Yontav, you should do it. Now, if he doesn't do it, he doesn't follow the rules, that's his problem. But you should tell it like a because all the attire we have issues, which some points can agree, some points do not agree. The first is the Mungavrum wants to answer, since it's B'Shel Rabim, that means, used to be that the Kehillah used to order the garbage sanitation, and therefore, it's a Rabim. And the klal is B'Shel Rabim lekech shuda. The problem with the Marasayin, as I said, because Kablunas is Einzach, but the problem is Marasayin. But Ech Marasayin, it's in front of a Yid's house, like you said, come from Yid's, it's Marasayin. So Zug de Mungavruam, Beshel Rabim, when it comes to a Tzibur, there's no Marasayin. He brings a raya to it. From where do we see the halacha? The halacha is that you cannot have tzuras lanoi. You cannot have statue in your house. You want to have in the house, in the Goyish world is popular. You have a statue of Abraham Lincoln, of George Washington. You have statues of people. Is the halacha shechenorach? It's also to have such a thing as such a statue. Then people will think that you are over the zura. Statue is given aibek over the zura, therefore this is also. Yeah. Zukt of them the Mungavruam. And zukt of them the shechenor the Remu zukt that beoifen with the zatzibur a Tzibber hot statues, is a Juka problem, because the ganze Chashash is, we'll say, of the Avodah Zura, Beshel Rabben, Tzibber, in the Juka Chashash von Avodah Zura. So, as we say over a virus, so therefore it's not a problem. Kim the Mungan Avruam, the Avruam says, since we see that Beshel Rabben ein Chashuda, like by Avodah Zura, there's Rabben ein Chashuda, so therefore, anything when it's a Tzibber, there's no Chashash about a sign, and it's fine, and therefore, they can take the garbage, because the whole problem is only about a sign, is Tzibber ein Habachshka problem. And this, Kim the Eliyarabba with other poskim which disagree with the Mungan Avruam, and they says the Toys Shabbos as what kind of businesses you're talking about the Avodah Zura, which Avodah Zura is a iser, chumar b'yoser. Nobody's going to think you did Avodah Zura. A tzibur nashung a tzibur did Avodah Zura. But when it comes to regular things which is on Shabbos malachas, avadu chashuda even b'sharabim. And he says, basically, it's not a problem. It is a problem. There's no heter b'shal rabim, and b'tzibur ein chashuda. So therefore, this is not a heter. Your Mungan Avruam says, because it's a tzibur, and therefore no chashuda, there is marasayin, even b'tzibur, only by Avodah Zura something else. That's something else. But the Chsam Sofer, yeah.
This public garbage is paid by
Bald came to the garbage. Bald came to the garbage. You mean by the Mungan Avruam here? Here. Come by ins, warum kommen wir nicht darin? I want to build it up, But the problem is that the Nordibiyida, not the problem. So we have an issue with this answer. But the Nordibiyida says, I don't understand your question. Adrabah. There's no chash b'sharabim. Kosh my petty things, but much smaller things. You say that but Avodah Zura people will not chosh that you have the Avodah Zura, so therefore it's heter. But small things there is a problem. So what?
Because it's a problem.
Because it's such a big issue. So don't be the verkehrt. Bei große ist da von erst chash. Hat schon ist Chumar, was ist Avodah Zura, was ist the Yerig al Yaver? Avada am Fall. If over there I chashuda, so therefore Mungan Avruam's answer is an answer, and therefore Beshal Rabim is in Ishdude problem. So again, we go back to the answer of the Mungan Avruam, Beshal Rabim and chashuda, and so basically this is one heter. How do we apply to our let's come to the garbage? So he brought up a very nice thing. Do is a machloikas achroinam to this called bara modanish, because like he said, which basically etol gehabt shulchan oirich far koirech, as the Nekiddus Advurim is, some poskim want to say that this is not, some soifer holds like that this is not called b'sharabim. Although there's a tzibur, has to be a tzibur together. Over here, every individual, there's a lot of yichidim. Some soifer, a lot of yichidim. That's not rabim. A lot of yichidim is not rabim. So therefore, hosish karaya, it's a kind of zugas, but tzibur is the shukar hatter. Mine is a problem. But Lamas the Marshak dinkt sich with the Soifer and holds, this is called Rabben. The Ism Zach has to do a Tzibur Yidden, which we can verstehen this Svura. Svura is Pshat Tzavkasov. Since a big crowd does it, it's mein Shukach Shash as everybody is over of the Zura, Everybody is over of Esirim, Although there's a famous saying, the Gehenim at Platz for ganze Kilo Ochet, but Pashtas, you don't say everybody's over of Isser. So therefore, Zug the Marshak, about this heißt doch der Rabben, and we can say the Mungan Avruam. But Lamas, the Alter Rebbe does not bring the reason of the Alter Rebbe does not bring the reason of the Mungan Avruam. He brings a different reason, and he wants to say Simefirsim Bekavlunas, Simefirsim in the Villatana, weil Simefirsim Bekavlunas, habe ich nicht kein Problem. A viel auf Mars ein auch Alter Rebbe sagt so, wie bald sind wir für so Kabulunas, in Gotcha für so Kabulunas ist bei eins wenn man halt ist von Mars ein, aber du, weil kann ich kein Breides crash daran als hab issue weil ist okay, weil sind wir für so Kabulunas habe ich kein Problem. Das ist der Alter Rebbe's gang. He does bring the Mungan Avruam's the Mungan Avruam's hatter. Again, I put away. Kennst du, weil der Alter Rebbe gelernt so wie der Pshat, so wie der andere Poskem, as Kenzan, Sachilik Tishna Avodah Zura in over here. But this is also an issue, like the Poskem bring, that the Alter Rebbe himself says if the under people are working, If the other people are schriam, so therefore, falt weg their Indian. So again, so on every, noch no andere pois, the what? The what?
This private golf collection, I'm not working. It's not just golf. It's a one-man show.
Oh, ich habe das getragen. Ich habe das gewollt fragen für einmal, physician. If it's a company or a man which has a garbage truck, you know, Melmonti will know about it. Is it a private man which has a truck, or he has a...
Technically a company.
So Miss Pra-
Owned by people, so it's a person, but it's a company.
No. My question is, if it's a one person which has a truck and he comes and collects, or he has a worker which has wages, because then go...
It's one guy.
Oh, so then it makes it much easier. Then is mamash hakablan. Then must hype sich soon. Then must haben ins Alterem setter den ganzen. But if you have a company which has 5 trucks and have workers under him and they are schriam, then we're going into the issue. So therefore, since in every time we have some issues when we talk about this subject, so therefore it's kedai always to tell him lefuchas, don't work on Shabbos. Again, they don't work on Shabbos. Don't work on Mondays because it's going to be yontif. So that's the easiest way to do it, because then if he comes, that's issue.
If everyone tells him that, he's not going to come.
The what?
If everyone tells him that, he won't come.
Okay, so this is what you should do. You should come. You should change the date.
I think you could create a Shinem Mazalis in Kingston. I don't know if you can handle the ramifications.
And so he told me. Zisha told me that he told it to him. He told it to him, and we finished. Once he told it to him, I don't care even anymore. Well, whatever he does, he does. As das schon nicht. Ich habe ihm gesucht. Ich habe ihm gesagt, I don't want it. So my Meile is, ich befragt, where everybody knows, als man ihm gesucht. Ist es noch besser. What? If I put it out? Was heißt? You put it out the day before. Okay, du hast eine zweite Schale mit den Tickets, mit den Sachen. Der was? You have the garbage can in your house?
After a day, it starts to smell.
In the house, or where is it? Not outside? You have
in
a
the house, and I put it in my truck. But I'm saying other people, even outside, it starts smelling. It's especially Pesach time, Shavuos time. It's
yeah, but you.
That's why they.
Cover the brief. Now listen, because you brought up a nice thing. I'll give you a nice scenario. A person has a toilet which is overflown. Overflown. You know, he has one. Now again, if he has 2 toilets, then but he has a backup and whatever. What should I say? You know, hotchka toilet. Now, if a person has 2 toilets and one toilet is clogged and you can use it, and you have a family of 12, that's not a heter. So if you have a place where to go, because the Chanaitze gave. But if you have 1 toilet or you have 3 toilets and as a backup, you have no toilets. Now, such a case, can I call a goy Erev Shabbos? Yeah, he's a kabbalan, he goes by the job, and he's going to come by Sisruel over here. Over here, it's already by Sisruel. So, can I do it or not? And the answer is yes. Over here, Zung Chazal, although es ist bei Sisruel, and du even a viele Kabayim Malach the Shabbos, aber Sofkesov is only a Drabonan, because Sofkesov is a kabbalan, and therefore, since it's only a Drabonan, it has no toilet. Therefore, that's called Mishim Kuvad Abriyas. And when we come to Kuvad Abriyas, is a Drabonan, whenever it is a Shalaf in Kuvad Abriyas, but again, it has to be Kuvad Abriyas. Just because the flies is going to come, and maybe it's going to open the door and it's going to smell. But you shouldn't fool yourself. But if Taka is a problem, it's like a Graf Shavaya. And in such a case, I would say that's only a Malucha D'Rabbanan. So therefore, al Tzkuva D'Bris, you could be Michael Malucha Melecha Shabbos. And this is what I said. If you don't have, you have a backup, and then even it comes into your house, that's B'Bais Yisroel and B'Shabbos, after it became a Shkuva D'Bris, you could. But other than that, is not a heter. But you don't tell you, well, somebody could tell, wait a minute, what's the big deal? Go to your neighbor next door, ask him for permission to go to the bathroom. No, that's part of Kuva D'Bris, and you don't do it. Yeah.
Once before, the backup is ready Friday midday, and you call him, and it's a busy day, and he only gets to
Shabbos. Zugter, aber after begins, it's not a drabuna.
That thing is just one. Like you ask him to do one.
You have to do what?
That's not covered up years.
Not covered up.
Nicht Bries tun wir nicht.
But he came on Shabbos. I told him to go Friday. He came on Shabbos.
Das ist der Geil, aber bei Beiß Yisroel helfen nicht alle Sachen. Bei Beiß Yisroel helfen nicht alle Sachen. So nicht mit wo ist gehalten. Weiß es wohl so ist. So hast ich keine
The garbage that tells to come another day. It doesn't really
So what?
You see with the garbage that tells to come another day. What's
No.
it up?
What do you mean coming on the
You
day?
see with the garbage, you should tell them to come on a different day. Don't
Yeah.
come on the day. When Mason comes to the office,
Yeah.
so they say so.
It's not nur weiß es raus, it's outside.
Take it for the house.
Ja, en de gename, aber nein, das ist aber af pikant. Du ist der Wort was alter Rebel sagen. Als wir bald ist Kablunas, ist immer fürsen bei Kablunas. In ist nicht gewesen mit Sad mir ist nicht gewesen nach der Schabbat, ich habe gesagt nicht kommen. Jetzt Titus. Nein, du darfst aber moiche sein, gibt Drama mir nicht die, du darfst wieder moiche sein. Du darfst wieder moiche sein. Nein, ich hab die Gas, ist drauf raus. Nein,
When it comes to covered abrius.
Yeah.
Covered abrius means, let's say, there's no other option, or you could say, listen, you can pay $200 for a different plumber and I'll come before Shabbos. Is that also, does that count as covered abrius?
You mean I have some ribba? You talking about have some ribba?
I'm saying that you could make no covered abrius. They'll pay a different plumber to come.
So ist du wirst in andere Worte, du wirst anspuren Geld. So nicht kann, du wirst sagen, zweimal nach der Schabbat to make to
The problem is the back.
Fine, aber hast du eine, was kein Kimmer fahren Schabbat? Das ist ein Gewalt. For what?
You pay another couple $100, someone else will come.
It's real covered abrius. You pay an extra $100 because your wife is telling you to. Right? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Amir and Nachri have some ribba. We are going back to the Shala of Amir and Nachri. Have some ribba. We're going to the Zalba, the Shala of the Geret by Nishkram Malech Reis. Again, we spoke about it, but the Shirim when we talk about the Amir and Nachri. Amir and Nachri, ba Adrabonon, and she is a okay, du haben jetzt Stammazati gesagt, Schala, bei Mama und Misger. Ich sag mal, Schala, sie sagt, fix na Klag, ist der Reise der Rabunen. Puperu, bei Moish halt das der Rabunen. Ja. Der Puperu, in Jan Josef holt, ist der Schala von der Reise. Mach ich bepatisch, mit dicken Keile. Der Bar Moish halt, als ist der Rabunen. So, okay, en de gename is is de Rabunen, arega is de Rabunen, I mean, laat me gewoon uitgeschreven op z'n is de Rabunen, hefst me ribbe, is de gafela mir nog die ogen. Kezan as afval is kezan as afval wat schwekken is. Wenn sich ob es darf sein Tag hefst me ribbe. You know, and you want an extra $15, $20, darf man schon da sein.